If you like history, this video is for you. What happened in 1800? January 1st. Quasi-war. Action of January 1st, 1800. A naval battle off the coast of Haiti between four United States merchant vessels escorted by naval schooner USS Experiment and a squadron of armed barges manned by Haitian pirates, known as picaroons, under the command of General André Rigaud, ends indecisively. The Dutch East India Company dissolves. February 7th. A public plebiscite in France confirms Napoleon as first consul by a substantial majority. February 11th. Infrared radiation is discovered by astronomer Sir William Herschel. February 22nd. The Baker rifle, designed by Ezekiel Baker, is selected by the British Board of Ordnance as a new standard. March 14th. Papal Conclave, 1799 to 1800. Cardinal Barnaba Chiaramonti succeeds Pius VI as Pius VII, the 251st Pope. He's crowned on March 21st in Venice. March 17th. The British Royal Navy ship of the line, HMS Queen Charlotte, 1790, catches fire off the coast of Capraia with the loss of 673 lives. March 20th. Alessandro Volta describes his new invention, the voltaic pile, the first chemical battery, in a letter to the Royal Society of London. March 26th. British Royal Navy officer Henry Waterhouse first charts the Antipodes Islands. April 2nd. Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 1 premieres at the Burgtheater in Vienna. The Treaty of Constantinople establishes the Septinsular Republic, the first autonomous Greek state since the fall of the Byzantine Empire. April 3rd. The first voting, albeit indirect, begins in the 1800 United States presidential election as voters in the state of New York make their selections for the New York State Legislature, which in turn will vote on October 31st for the state's 12 presidential electors. A majority of state legislature members are from the Democratic-Republican Party, rather than the Federalist Party. At the time, only 4 of the 16 U.S. states, Kentucky, Maryland, North Carolina, and Virginia, have a popular vote for the presidential electors and the president. The other 12, including New York, have a popular vote for the state legislature, but not for the president. At the time, neither of the major parties have picked their nominees for president and vice president. The result will not be certified until February 1801. April 6th. War of the Second Coalition, Siege of Genoa. General André Massena is surrounded by 40,000 Austrian troops under Field Marshal Michael von Melas and blockaded by a strong British squadron under Lord Keith. April 24th. The U.S. Library of Congress is founded in Washington, D.C. May 14th. Second Coalition. French forces under General Louis-Alexandre Berthier are halted by 400 Austro-Piedmont soldiers at Fort Bard in the Aosta Valley. May 15th. Napoleon and his French army, 40,000 men, not including the field artillery and baggage trains, 35,000 light artillery and infantry, 5,000 cavalry, begin crossing the Alps. He selects the shortest route through the Great St. Bernard Pass and invades after 5 days traversing the northern region of Italy. June 2nd. The first smallpox vaccination is made in North America at Trinity, Newfoundland. June 3rd. U.S. President John Adams moves to Washington. Because the president's mansion is still under construction, President Adams takes up residence at Tunnicliffe City Hotel near the unfinished U.S. Capitol building. June 4th. War of the Second Coalition, Siege of Genoa. The French army is evacuated from Genoa. Marshal André Massena is allowed to march out with all the honors of war. A portion of his force joins General Louis-Gabriel Suchet, and the rest is conveyed in British ships to Antibes. June 14th. War of the Second Coalition, Battle of Marengo. Napoleon defeats the Austrian troops near Marengo, Italy. French General Jean-Baptiste Kleber is assassinated in Cairo by Syrian Kurdish Muslim student Suleiman al-Halabi. June 15th, Convention of Alessandria, Armistice of Marengo. Austria agrees to evacuate much of Italy. June 19th, War of the Second Coalition, Battle of Höchstadt. General Jean-Victor Marie Moreau leads French forces to victory, opening the Danube passageway to Vienna. June 27th, War of the Second Coalition, Battle of Neuburg. General Claude Lecourbe leads French forces to victory, securing control of the Danube from Austria. July 2nd, the Union with Ireland Act. 1800 is passed by the Parliament of Great Britain. The Irish Parliament passes similar legislation in the following month, uniting the two kingdoms and abolishing the Parliament of Ireland. July 10th, Fort William College is established by Lord Wellesley, British Governor-General of India, in Calcutta, to promote Bengali, Hindi, and other vernaculars of the Indian subcontinent. August 1st, King George III gives royal assent to the Second Act of Union to unite the Kingdom of Great Britain and Kingdom of Ireland, both ruled by him, into the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, effective on January 1st, 1801. August 30th, the plot by African-American blacksmith and slave Gabriel Prosser to seize Richmond, Virginia, and guide a slave uprising is thwarted by a massive downpour on the evening that it is set to begin. Two other slaves have revealed Prosser's plans to authorities, who have prepared to follow him to the rendezvous point and arrest the conspirators, so that neither the geographical extent of the plot nor the number of insurgents in the conspiracy was revealed. Eventually, 25 slaves, including Prosser, will be captured, tried, and hanged. September 4. Siege of Malta, 1798 to 1800. The French garrison in Valletta surrenders to British troops, who had been called at the invitation of the Maltese. The islands of Malta and Gozo become the Malta Protectorate. September 30. The Convention of 1800, or Treaty of Mortefontaine, is signed between France and the United States of America, ending the quasi-war. October 1st. Third Treaty of San Ildefonso. Spain returns Louisiana, New Spain, to France in return for the Tuscany area of Italy. October 7th. French privateer Robert Surcouf leads the 150-man crew of his corvette Confiance to capture the 40-gun, 437-man British East Indiaman Kent in the Indian Ocean. November the 1st. U.S. President John Adams becomes the first president of the United States to live in the Executive Mansion, later renamed the White House. Middlebury College is granted its charter by the Vermont General Assembly. November 17th. The United States Congress holds its first Washington, D.C. session. November 22nd. War of the Second Coalition. Hostilities resume. December the 3rd. Battle of Hohenlinden. War of the Second Coalition. The French army defeats Habsburg and Bavarian troops. The 1800 United States presidential election. The Electoral College casts votes for president and vice president that results in a tie between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, requiring a contingent election which will select Jefferson as president. December 24th. The plot of the Rue Saint-Nicaise fails to kill Napoleon Bonaparte. Pierre Coudrin and Henriette Aymère de la Chevalerie found the Congregation of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary in Paris. December 25th. The Armistice of Steyr is signed between French and Imperial forces in Germany, ending active hostilities of the War of the Second Coalition in Germany. Like and subscribe for more history.